The courage to walk away, finding peace through necessary separation. Have you ever stayed in a situation long past its expiration date? That job where your soul shrivels a little more each day. That friendship where you've become the perpetual giver to an eternal taker. That family dynamic where your growth is treated as betrayal. I recently had the profound opportunity to interview Tenil Adams, whose groundbreaking work in mental wellness advocacy has transformed how we think about necessary separations. Her research with Black professionals across America has created nothing short of a revolution in how we understand the intersection of mental health, cultural expectations, and the courage to choose ourselves. Through her compassionate yet unflinching approach, Tanil has helped thousands reclaim their peace by making the difficult choices that society often condemns, but that wisdom demands. What makes Tanil's work so revolutionary isn't just her impressive credentials or the countless lives she's transformed, it's her radical honesty about a truth many of us struggle to accept. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is walk away. We've been conditioned to believe that leaving equals failure, that endurance, regardless of the cost, equals strength. But what I learned from Tanil challenges this entirely. Her research reveals that our greatest growth often happens not in stubborn persistence, but in the courage to release what no longer serves us. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you stayed somewhere you should have left? And what did that cost you? For many of us, especially Black women, the answer is measured in years of our lives, in depleted energy, in dreams deferred, in peace sacrificed on the altar of other people's expectations. During my conversation with Tenil Adams, three powerful truths emerged that I believe could transform your relationship with walking away. These insights aren't just theoretical, they're backed by real stories of transformation that Tanil has documented throughout her career. The first truth: prioritizing inner peace often requires difficult choices. Jennifer Randall's story exemplifies this perfectly. As a guest on the Soft Girl Era podcast, Jennifer shared how she spent years navigating workplaces that weren't built for her. The constant emotional labor left her burned out, invisible, questioning her worth. She described it as hustling while hurting, a phrase that likely resonates with many of you. Jennifer would arrive home each evening completely depleted, having spent the day code switching, over explaining her ideas, and fighting to be seen. I was dying inside, she told Tanil, but smiling outside because that's what we're taught to do. The turning point came when Jennifer made the difficult decision to step back from toxic work environments. This meant distancing herself from unsupportive colleagues, people she'd invested in, people she'd tried to build bridges with. It wasn't easy. Society tells us to push through to prove ourselves worthy of spaces that weren't designed for us in the first place. But Jennifer chose differently. She focused on self care and sought culturally competent therapy. She prioritized her mental health over external validation. And here's what happened: she achieved sustainable career success without sacrificing her well being. Her advocacy has inspired countless professionals who now understand that softness isn't weakness, it's wisdom, it's preservation, it's revolutionary. As Tanil Adams so eloquently put it during our interview, the spaces that require you to diminish yourself to belong aren't worthy of your presence in the first place. The second truth: life is a series of lessons. Take notes. This brings me to Tina G.'s journey, which Tenil shared from the Breaking Black podcast. Tina struggled with something many of us know intimately: loyalty guilt. She had childhood friends whose values no longer aligned with hers as she evolved professionally. Yet she stayed, caught in the quicksand of shared history. The cost, her clarity, her peace, her forward momentum. Tina described gatherings where she'd leave feeling drained rather than refilled. Conversations that circled around gossip rather than growth. Friendships maintained through obligation rather than genuine connection. I kept thinking something was wrong with me, Tina shared. Why couldn't I just enjoy what everyone else seemed to enjoy? Why did I feel like I was outgrowing people I'd known my whole life? Tina eventually chose intentional solitude over toxic company. But here's what makes her story remarkable. She didn't just leave, she learned. She used this time for reflection, journaling the lessons from each relationship. She treated every painful separation as a masterclass in self knowledge. After years of feeling emotionally drained by old circles, Tina embraced change despite initial loneliness. She trusted what Tenil Adams calls hidden seasons, those quiet periods of preparation that precede our greatest growth. The outcome? Tina's life became more peaceful. She gained clarity about her goals without negative influences clouding her judgment. Eventually, she cultivated a network rooted in mutual support rather than obligation or history alone. But none of this would have happened if she hadn't been willing to take notes on what wasn't working. When I asked Tanil about this process, she shared something profound. Every relationship that doesn't last still teaches you something that will. The question is whether you're paying attention to the lesson. The third truth from our conversation with Tenil Adams might be the most challenging. Self validation is essential. Tyra Morrison's experience illuminates this beautifully. On her podcast, Affirmations for Black Girls, Tyra reflects on periods where she felt unseen, even by family, but used those times for deep personal development. She grappled with feelings of invisibility within both familial relationships and broader society. The solution wasn't fighting harder for external validation. Instead, Tyra focused inwardly during these hidden seasons, practicing daily affirmations instead of chasing approval, even if it meant emotional distance from loved ones who didn't understand her evolution. Validation starts with you, Tyra often says. This isn't just a catchy phrase, it's survival. Tyra described family gatherings where her accomplishments were minimized or misunderstood, professional environments where her contributions were overlooked, romantic relationships where her needs came last. The common denominator, she was waiting for others to affirm her worth. Years spent seeking validation externally left Tyra exhausted until she realized that preparation happens quietly and sometimes alone in order to be ready when doors finally open. The result? She emerged more confident in herself. Opportunities began aligning naturally once she honored her own process first. Today, Tyra's podcast inspires thousands weekly with practical tools for embracing solitude as an essential stage before thriving publicly. Her listeners report feeling empowered not just professionally, but personally after learning they're not alone in needing space, even from family, to grow into their next chapter. As Tenil Adams emphasized in our interview, the validation you seek from others is often the validation you need to give yourself first. These three truths, prioritizing peace, requires difficult choices. Life is a series of lessons, and self validation is essential. Form a powerful framework for understanding when walking away becomes an act of self preservation rather than abandonment. But let's be honest, knowing when to walk away is one thing, actually doing it is another entirely. So, how do we cultivate the courage to leave situations, relationships, or environments that no longer serve us? Tenil Adams shared several practical strategies during our conversation. First, recognize that walking away isn't giving up, it's moving forward. There's a profound difference between abandonment and strategic retreat. One is reactive, the other is intentional. Second, understand that temporary discomfort often precedes permanent peace. The initial loneliness after leaving a toxic friendship, the financial uncertainty after quitting a soul crushing job, the family tension after setting a necessary boundary, these are growing pains, not warning signs. Third, create a personal peace inventory. Ask yourself, what relationships consistently leave me feeling depleted? What environments require me to shrink? What obligations have I accepted out of guilt rather than genuine desire? The answers will illuminate what might need to be released. Fourth, practice incremental courage. You don't have to make dramatic exits all at once. Sometimes walking away looks like gradually reducing contact, setting smaller boundaries first, or creating emotional distance while maintaining physical presence until you're ready for complete separation. Fifth, and perhaps most importantly, build your support system before you need it. As Tenil Adams wisely noted, the spaces you leave create room for new connections that honor your growth. I'm reminded of something Jennifer Randall said on the Soft Girl Era podcast. I spent years thinking I needed to earn my peace. Then I realized peace isn't something you earn, it's something you choose. This perspective shift is revolutionary. Peace isn't a reward for endurance, it's a choice we make by protecting our energy, honoring our growth, and sometimes walking away. Now, I want to be clear about something. Walking away doesn't mean you never look back. It doesn't mean you abandon your responsibilities or act without consideration for others. It means you recognize when the cost of staying exceeds the value of what you're preserving. It means understanding, as Tina G did, that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and others is create space for new patterns to emerge. It means embracing, as Tyra Morrison teaches, that your validation must come from within before it can come from without. And it means acknowledging, as Tenil Adams has demonstrated through her groundbreaking work, that walking away can be an act of profound courage and self love. So I leave you with this. What if the very thing you're afraid to walk away from is the obstacle between you and the life you're meant to live? What if your reluctance to leave is not loyalty, but fear disguised as virtue? What if your peace matters more than their comfort with who they need you to be? I challenge you today to examine the spaces, relationships, and situations where you've been diminishing yourself to belong, to question the narratives that keep you tethered to environments that no longer serve your growth, to consider that perhaps, just perhaps, the most courageous step you can take isn't towards something new, but away from what's been holding you captive. Because in the end, walking away isn't about abandonment, it's about alignment. It's not about giving up, it's about growing up. It's not about failure, it's about freedom. And freedom, my friends, is worth the temporary discomfort of change. It's worth the raised eyebrows and whispered judgments. It's worth the uncertainty of new beginnings. Your peace is not negotiable. Your growth is not optional. Your light is too brilliant. to be dimmed by environments too small to contain it. So walk away if you must. Do it with intention. Do it with grace. Do it with the knowledge that sometimes the most profound act of self love is simply saying, "This no longer serves me, and I deserve to be served." Thank you.